Your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman's historical vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us on another magnificent Monday's edition of Talk Today, as we invite you, for the first 2 hours or so until 2 p.m. There's going to be some open line and we can talk about anything. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email Talk Today at candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255. Courtesy of Flow,
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. It is open line as we want to invite you to share your thoughts with us. It's 5th month of this year is almost gone, and there's a lot that's been happening both locally and globally within the corporate sphere and in their individual lives. And some of it has been spectacular, and some of it, and it's not anything you want to write home about. But what is affecting us? Well, some would say, we don't hear as much these days about supply chain issues, and I only use that because there are a number of people who are, maybe because of not only their business acumen, not only because of their academic education, but their experience and expertise, would share oftentimes, like so many words and phrases, we misuse them. We use them in a way that not only do we not understand, but somehow we repeat without recognizing that it doesn't really make much sense. And thankfully, there are those who are seeing some costs coming down. Eggs, I told, these days aren't as valuable as a diamond ring. You also that meme where the fellow was going to propose and give her something valuable for Valentine's, and instead of a chocolate or diamond ring, brought her a dozen eggs. We laughed at it, but it's for many just an indication of what potentially could transpire relative to our food supply, relative to the provision of some of the goods that we want, from the food stuff, whether it's a meat or maybe you're not into that, or whether it's eggs, maybe you're not into that. But what about building materials, from the lumber and other building materials to the tiles and the like? Not only do you have to wait to get it, But if you do get it, you feel like you're paying exorbitant rates. Now, with the idea of rates, well, interest rates and the rates of inflation, they drive. We are told many times that there are external factors that influence the life and the cost of living in Cayman. But are there things that we can do to maybe mitigate some of those increases? Perhaps do things that could help us to weather the storms, just like we do in natural disasters. So I want to hear from you. I'm grateful that this is a discussion that is once again coming to the fore, presumably one that is going to be discussed not just in the political circle amongst the elected politicians, but one that the populace, not just the voter, but the general populace, is weighing in. Well, we saw the Honorable Premier issue a statement. We saw the first Premier, the former Speaker, bring a motion to the House, and we can speculate. There can be a lot of conjecture. We can say it was politicking. But at the end of the day, what is going to be the consequence of what we do, the way we do it or don't do? They say you can lie by both omission and commission. It's not sometimes the act, sometimes there's the not doing something, the failure to act. All right, the phone lines are open. Open line until 2 p.m. And then we'll have a discussion with our friends from the Cayman Arts Festival. But between now and then, we can cover a lot of ground if you want to. 949-8037, 949-6990. Of course, the Flow toll-free number is there for us as well. 1-800-534-TALK. That's 1-800-534-8255. Then you can WhatsApp 925-3261. You can call it, we'll answer it, and we can talk. We don't have to talk about interest rates. We don't have to talk about cost of living. We don't have to talk about, politicians and politics and, public policy. We don't have to talk about all those things, but we can, and maybe we should. So the same numbers that you use to access For the Record with Mr. Art on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, the numbers that we want you to use, call us now. Now, I started off by having a number of sort of people with their calling names to thank, because the issues that we're seeing relative to the cost of living and the cost of housing, whether you're renting or whether you're trying to buy, they're not peculiar, they're not unique, they're not only happening in Cayman or in this part of the world. Pick parts of Europe, pick parts of the US. We live in a wonderful place in this country in many respects, one that we shouldn't take for granted, and one that I think has served us well. The fact that we have many friends and families that are spread across the globe, many who are here from other parts of the world, and they can share with you what's happening back home or in their country of birth, as a good friend always references it when he shares, because he says, they say, home is where your navel string is buried. And perhaps, maybe if he was born in Cayman, it would be buried here, but he put a show where he was born, that was like everything else, just discarded, not safe. But this for him is where his heart rests, and will forever. And who know him and know that he doesn't say that lightly, and he has a strong love for it. But he says, his extended family that are either in his country of birth or other parts are seeing not just the influx of people coming to the country and bidding up the prices, perhaps the loosely saying the attractiveness of many places for tourism or for investment or for people to come in because it offers for them some attractive feature that's bidding up the prices of land, whether it's land to develop, whether it's developed land that they want to reside in, whether it's any almost aspect, even some of the arable land. Now he shared that it's mostly and we'll focus, I think easier to have the discussion focused on residential, but he shared that that is the same in a lot of places. So if we were to look at the international media, we could see the cost of housing in the US, and in some places more so than others, being affected. Some reports are indicating that some markets in the US are seeing some prices come down, but relatively speaking, that reduction is still significant above what they were maybe 2.5 years ago. What is the case in Cayman? What is the expectation? All right, and sharing that, here is something, and I only wish that at some point she would accept the invitation to come on for two reasons. One, I think she's an incredibly intelligent, well-respected resource and respectable individual. But secondly, we seem to have this view, at least in the Western world, that women, like children, really, don't necessarily have a lot. And I find that to be so unfortunate, because no matter what we say publicly, it may seem to be the practice that, what's that song? It's a man's world. And that's so unfortunate. Now, I don't say that to inflame people, to offend. I'm just saying that let's just continue to recognize that maybe we haven't moved the needle in that direction too much. We've been focused on a lot of other things that are just distractions, as opposed to looking at people, and irrespective of color or creed or ethnicity or economics, or whether they're male or female, that they're people, and what's good for people should be good for one and all. And in listening to her presentation earlier, she was sharing that when we look at the Cayman context, we're not mindful of what is happening. It could be easy, she said, to say that as individuals, we don't fully understand economics. We may understand accounting costs. This was the cost of this. It was sold for that, so therefore that's the accounting profit. But there are other costs, and we conflate sometimes the two. We certainly confuse. And as we go into the break, maybe one of her salient points is that as we look at what's happening, we sometimes call on governments that there should be price controls for rent, price controls for certain food items, restrictions on this and that. And those are the things we ask governments to do. But when it comes to financial services, we are, especially in Cayman, she believes that this is not only the perception but the expected outcome. We don't ask government. In fact, if anything, we chastise government if they were to say to banks, or loosely just to financial services, oh, you can't do this, or if you do this, you must do it this way. And as she shared, that seems to be an inherent conflict. If on one hand you're okay to accept price controls for rent, for instance, on certain foods or on certain things, but then when it comes to the interest rates on what banks can charge or the fees they can impose, that if we do that, that somehow goes counter to the quote-unquote free market system. Maybe you will want to pick up on that when we come back from the break. We'll pause, take our first commercial break, and invite you to call and share your thoughts. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Are you kidding me?
Hey girl, what's wrong?
My eyeliner foundation just ran out and I have to leave Savannah in 15 minutes.
That's easy. Just stop at Savannah Pharmacy. That's where I get all of my makeup, and for a great price too.
Really?
Really, girl. Where are you going?
To Savannah Pharmacy, duh.
Wait, I'm coming too. Ran out of my favorite nail polish.
Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village provides you with more than just prescriptions. Savannah Pharmacy is just around the corner with everything you need and the hours you need it. Visit us today for fast, efficient, and professional service. We are here as a team to assist you while taking care of your health. Call us today at 946-3336.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Dwayne Porter will be taking appointments from May 28th through June 12th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email dr.portercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That is 946-9020.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. It is open line as we invite you to call and share your thoughts with us. 949-8037, 949-6990. Of course, Flow makes it available free versus the, via the toll-free call 1-800-534-8255. Or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. You can call it. We'll answer it. You can message. You can send a voice note. We'll play it. Whichever you choose. The idea is to engage and involve and feel included in the show, that what you're saying, you have an audience that's willing to listen. And maybe that's the challenge sometimes. We listen to respond. I always think we should listen to understand. And if you choose to respond, well, at least we can do so from an informed perspective. The idea of interest rates and financial literacy and economics, many times we think that's for them. No, it's for all of us because it affects us all. Let's go to the phones. Welcome, good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dwayne.
How are you today? Good afternoon to you.
Fine, thanks, and you?
Oh, my.
Calling, let me call you back, sorry.
Okay. Sometimes, we are so, this is, that, and we recognize that caller has called often and always has much, value to contribute. And if she doesn't mind, use it as an example. Those are the demands in our lives as working people, as just members of a community. And that's a good way for us to emphasize how much, we get so busy, we're preoccupied. And sometimes there are things that could serve to distract us. And as long as we're treading water, we say, keeping our head, above water and all these things, they're good. But what are we doing collectively to ensure that we're doing better? And we should be working hand in hand. Good afternoon, welcome, thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yes, sorry about that. I had just a
no, that's fine.
Calling and I had to catch it at that moment.
That's fine.
First of all, we want to give thanks to God. We want to congratulate all the participants and all the members of the committee who put on the march on Saturday. We want to thank each and every one for taking the time, because we know everybody's schedule is so busy.
True.
And none of us don't have much time for God unless we're in need of something. So, but thank God that we put aside our difference and whatever, and we came out and we had a very, very good turnout. It should have been a lot better because we say we are a Christian foundation. We could have got a lot more than we did, but we thank God for those that took the time to come out to stand for Him. But I want to say publicly, I was very, very disappointed. We have 19 elected officials, and if they were there, they were hiding. 19 elected officials who we elect to represent us, and we did not have not one of them came out. Not one of them came out to represent the country. And it's a shame and a disgrace that there are elected officials It should be there standing along with us, beside us, and for us. I like I say what somebody said on Saturday about it. I can look forward to see the next march and schedule for next weekend to see who will take part in that one.
Do you, and I guess sometime, well, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you go ahead. So we want to.
Do you, I mean, why do you think they did not attend, first off? Because some would say that they like to attend as often and as much things as possible to ensure that they're connected to people, that they're always front and center in the voters' minds.
Well, that's the thing, because I don't. They can't use the excuse that they did not have enough time to know this function was coming off.
Mm-hmm.
That's a poor excuse. That's number one. Our Constitution, our history goes back that we are a Christian foundation. So and regardless of whether they're on one side of the fence or the other, politically,
Mm-hmm.
not looking at politics. They need to put politics aside when it comes to certain things. And so they can't use as excuse. That's a poor excuse. And so they need to tell us why they didn't come out. Because, and I'm not being biased or anything, but because last year when they had the Pride March with the LGBTQ or S and Z, and then you have to go to that, whatever letter they got tied to that.
Mm-hmm.
Our premier was one of the leaders of that party. Him and the governor right in the front page. Right in the front page. So why, if they can go out to that, unless they have an agenda with it, why they didn't come out to support the Christians?
Mm-hmm.
And they're always, every one of them is always reading scriptures of the Bible, but remember, you can't use God for our convenience. Same God today, he'll be the same one tomorrow, whether we like it or we don't like it, and he's not changing for us. So it's a shame and disgrace, especially, and if I could call them down, because on behalf of the people that came out, I guess a lot of them feel the same way. I was very disappointed. I do not know where Miss Julianne Connolly.
Mm-hmm.
As a lady, I can call them out because I want to make them notice. We noticed that there's a Christian lady, she says she is, and I'm not going to be the judge of who she was, and I do not know why.
Mm-hmm.
As a Christian lady, I expected to see her out there. That's number one. Mr. Dwayne Seymour, who during the COVID, and he gave us that we were given the Bible scriptures and everything, we looked forward for him as a son of, and I say a Christian, but a very God-fearing person. You got Mr. Saunders, who is ever turned around preaching scriptures of the Bible, the whole one being part of himself. So it's not like they don't know, or I don't know whether they believe into it or what was the scheme, but I think that they owe the country an apology as to why they weren't out to celebrate with us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So I can leave you there with that one, and I'm sure there's more that have the same feeling as me about it. So let's hear what they're going to say.
All right, well, thank you very much, and thank you for always sharing. All right.
Okay.
Have a good day. All right, let's take this other call. Welcome. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You mean the previous caller that just called,
right?
And she was frank and everything. I just want to make one correction because I was actually walking. I did the walk from Public Beach straight into town, and then stayed to the very end for the at the end of the concert.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there, but let her know, Miss Barbara Connolly and I walked almost side by side all the way from Public Beach into Georgetown.
Okay, but see, thank you for recognizing that sometimes as the lady was trying to say, she didn't see him, she wasn't trying to pin them all, but I guess her point's the thing. But glad that you were able to, clarify and correct it for us. What do you think? Sorry, what do you think about it? From your perspective, if you don't mind sharing, what do you think about it? How did it go?
It was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I was sort of disappointed that a lot more people weren't there,
Mm-hmm.
but in the same time, I give God thanks for all who came,
Mm-hmm.
all the churches that participated. We had many denominations.
Mm-hmm.
There we had the Catholics, we had the Adventists, we had the Presbyterian, we had the United Church. You know, so we had a lot of denominations who came out and supported the event. It went without a hitch. Everybody, you know.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that you shared that, because many times when in the Cayman the church does something, it's either, as you shared, maybe the Catholics would do their thing, or the Adventists, or the other churches. Even when the Cayman Ministers Association sometimes put on something, you'll see the absence of some churches like the two former. But Saturday we seem to have seen all of the churches, irrespective of the denominations, have some semblance of representation.
Right. So we had a really good crowd doing the walk, and then we had a lot of buses and private vehicles that had, you know, the buses had a lot of people in it, and then the private cars had 5-6 people in them, you know, and so the motorcade was good, and then the marchers were good.
Mm-hmm.
So just got to thank God that, you know, people seen it fit to come out and to celebrate and join in. You know, the lead truck had the music going, you know, to keep you going, you know, onward Christian soldiers, you know, some of the old time hymns and stuff, but you know, they had a upbeat to it, so it kept you, gave you the momentum, you know, to keep on going. So it was good to be there, and you know, lots of people came out. You know, they heard the music, so they came out by the sidewalk and they were waving. Cars that was passing the opposite direction was tooting their horns. People were waving, and they had their cameras out, you know, videoing what was happening. So it was a good afternoon, and I look forward to the 7th of June, 2024, when the next march. So it's a yearly march, and look forward to it to be the same, bigger, better. But, you know, for people to come out and praise the Lord.
I think too many people didn't.
We have so much to be thankful for.
That's just it, you know. Some do recognize that it was a global initiative. Some thought it was just something that was organized locally.
It was globally.
You're right.
If they looked on YouTube and on Facebook and stuff, you saw many different denominations again.
Right.
With big crowds of supporters marching down the streets in Washington and you know, different states, and it's all around the world. So it was a worldwide initiative, and you know, Cayman has done it in the past, and you know, we've got the momentum going now. So thank the Lord. And so
thanks to you and people like you who've helped to not just organize but to participate, because I think like many of us, you know, we were on the sidewalks, we were in our cars, but for some reason, you know, we are not as willing to be as visible, to be as vocal in our assembly, and maybe that's changing. You know, maybe people are starting to appreciate, what is it that the song says? You know, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything.
That's correct.
Well, I appreciate it. Anything else you want to share with us?
Huh?
Is there anything else that you would like to share with us?
No, I'm just thankful.
That you are. You inspire many of us to be the same.
All righty.
All right. Talk to you soon, huh?
Okay.
Take care. Bye. Bye-bye. All right. Let's take the scheduled break. See if I can do a little better with some of them, or I can change them altogether. Nah. All right. Join us after for some more Open Line. Please stay tuned.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. for medical lab services in Cayman. MedLab.
Here at Savannah Pharmacy, our pharmacists do a lot more than just count out your pills and fill prescriptions. They undergo extensive education in the study of how the human body uses and responds to medicine. They have also built up years of experience in real-life counseling on how to take medication safely. Our pharmacists are on the front lines in keeping our society healthy. Don't risk it or hesitate. Contact us or schedule a consultation with one of our pharmacists today. At Savannah Pharmacy, we care about your health.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
The Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency wants your feedback on the draft National Climate Change Policy. The Cayman Islands is experiencing impacts of climate change, like sea level rise, changes to rainfall patterns, and temperature increases. A national climate change policy is essential to ensuring a strong economy, safe communities, and healthy ecosystems. Download the draft policy now at gov.ky/climate change policy. Send us your feedback by Friday, the 30th of June. Log on to gov.ky/climate change policy today to learn more.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for sharing with us. It is open line 949-8037, 949-6990. All right, let's don our headsets and let's get this Cayman Airways flight to the Brac all ready to go. So let's hear from you. You're in the Brac. How do you feel about some of the discussions that are taking place in the country? In particular, the whole issue of costs and the interest rates. Now we know from those of us who have friends and family Brac that sometimes they feel like they're being left out. Sometimes when we hear, for instance, the price of gas on Grand Cayman is this, but on the Brac, it's a whole lot more. And sometimes we might hear on Grand Cayman, don't appreciate that they're Caymanians too. They have increased costs, and sometimes is it because of the extra stop to bring goods here, and then whether it's a Cayman Airways cargo or whether it's the barge, to get it over to the back home? Why should it be? But interest rates, they don't go over to the back, and because of the shipping costs are increased, like the building materials or the foodstuffs or the fuel. So when costs affect the lives and livelihood of our people, how is that affecting them from their physical health, the extra stress that it puts on them, the notion that if it continues that way, they may not be able to, retire or retire comfortably. So what are we facing? Hey, 949-8037, 949-6990, or 1-800-534-8255. It's this comment here from our listener, and I'm so grateful that we have people who are prayerful, who are so purpose and poised that they remember us and just listen to us. Good afternoon, Mr. Ebanks. Just to add that many are grieving the loss of loved ones at this time, and there's a genuine need for people to have been unable not to attend. Some funerals may have been on the same day. God understands. Let's take this call. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hey, good afternoon, Dwayne.
Good afternoon, man. How are you?
Okay, and you?
Listen, I'm thankful, man. Thank God for excellent health, for our presence of mind, and people like you who will either call in or I'll see from time to time, and we can always be reminded that we have much to be thankful for and much that we can still contribute.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and best place to do it is, I would say, on the radio.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot, I think, and we got to be mindful that what we do and how we do it, if we do it respectfully and responsibly, it may help us, Always appreciate when you have the time to call and share your thoughts with us, man.
Okay. I have a question, Dwayne.
Go right ahead, man.
Yeah, the Black Power and Light Company
Mm-hmm.
that was bought by a private individual. My question is, why didn't the government buy that?
Probably a good question. Any, as you thought about the process, any considerations, anything you want to maybe share as to what your thoughts might be?
Well, my thoughts about it is, we know when it comes to off-rig,
Mm-hmm.
they're not helping us the way they should. And the Power and Light Company was not leased, it was bought, right?
Yeah, I mean, from what I gather, from just what's in the public domain, the people who had shares in it were willing to share, and the negotiated price was agreed, and now it's in new hands.
Thank you very much, then.
Let me ask of you though, and this was in line with what you shared, do you think that an entity like that should be owned either by an individual, whether single entity, that could potentially create a monopoly-like situation that is entrenched into one entity, or should it be either government-owned control or partial ownership or publicly traded?
Well, I think they should have did the same thing what they did with CUC. They should have leased it, because nobody can buy that back from that.
But if you
unless you are one of them Egyptian sheiks,
well,
buy that from him.
Yeah, I mean, some people may have something and they may choose to sell it. How do we stop that?
Well, there are laws that can be put in place.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
But then again, it's too late now to put laws in place. The Black Power and Light now belongs to a private individual.
Mm-hmm.
When the government could have bought it.
Yeah. You and you're sharing there a lot of interesting questions that could be asked about other things as well. But I appreciate your perspective, man. Thanks, huh?
You're welcome.
All right, have a good day too. All right, let's take one other call. Welcome, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Excellent. And how are things with you?
Giving God thanks, man. Giving God thanks.
Thank God, man. That's good.
Yeah, listen to the gentleman there.
Mm-hmm.
It raises a very eye-opening situation here in the block, because government should implement themselves into the system for Kim and Brock more than what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And they do not do it, because that Power and Light Company could have been owned by the government, which would have been beneficial to the people. Instead of, and I'm not going to hold back no name, because it's owned by that.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody know that. So it's not no secrecy. Because as we Caymanians, I don't understand why we have to keep everything secret and we can't voice what we have to say. So it just goes out to show how the government is looking out for us here on the block. Because you take, for instance, the old Tiara Beach on the south side,
mm-hmm.
that the government could have bought. You take, for instance, the Point of Sun in Little Cayman, that the government could have bought, that it would be beneficial to the people of Little Cayman, Cayman Rock, and those on the south side for the OTR beach, it could have been a perfect beach. For when cruisers come here, they would have had a perfect beach to go to.
Yeah.
The tourists, the locals would have had a beautiful beach to swim at every day of their life. If they put boulders across that place, it borders Kimmenbrockers from going there to swim. The government will not put their interest in this country because they put their interest in their own pockets. That is why we are struggling here time after time, and we don't have no one to speak for us, because those that are speaking for us are those that are selling off the island to benefit themselves. That is the way it works. It only two individuals that run for Kimmenbrock. And when we have politicians that are in the government and the system are being tossed around to and fro to get these individuals, these private entities to come in here and buy out and take over, we can't be helped, Sterling. We cannot be helped because we are being dictated by only, and I don't mean dictated by verbal speaking. I mean by actions, by only the individuals that are selling to benefit the private sector that come that taking over Kimmenbrock, and leaving us with nothing in the future.
I mean, many would probably, draw alongside you and share some of your comments and hopefully engage in some sort of discussion. But let me ask then in two things. Let's take a publicly traded company that's listed on a recognizable stock exchange, select CUC. What would stop, if possible, some other entity coming and buying through the stock exchange a significant percentage of its shares, right? Now there'll be regulatory approval according to the stock exchange sort of rules and the like. But if that's a big fund, if that's an individual, they say, listen, that's a good investment. We want to buy all the publicly traded shares that we can buy. So that entity comes in and it gets a sizable percentage, just like any other public traded company. They don't get on the board, they can influence policies. What does our government do or can do if something like that was to happen?
Well, I tell you what they could do. They could try to get up and make it look like they're helping us and doing something, but they sit back and let these things happen, and then when the people started complaining and crying, then they sit down and then they'll wait till they see them at a quiet little spot near a church or something, and say two little good words to them, and they go about their business. Listen, Sterling, when Paloma had leveled Kimmenbrock, it looked like a bomb had went off, atomic bomb had went off Kimmenbrock, leveled everything for 2-3 miles through the trees. It wasn't nothing left. Power and Light Company could not uphold this island with the work that they had to do. CUC had to send their workers Kimmenbrock here to help erect back the light poles on the side of the roads. It would have been best if that the owner, and I never call his name, had sell that business out to CUC. I know Caymanians, like that gentleman just now, I know he complains about CUC a lot, but it would have been better for us to have been run under CUC than for us to be run under a company that we absolutely knows nothing about, and it's just a matter of time before he explode on us. Because when he lay down things that we got to do, Sterling, what are we going to do? Are we going to run generators for the rest of our life? Because when he dictate what he got to do up on that bluff there to run this power down here to this island, we can't do nothing but go with him, And then we can't put solar because he got hold against that. So everything he got hold in his power, or that company got hold in their power to hold us down, it come in. People not see it yet, This company, like I tell people all the time, this is not a company that just comes in like a shark and grab a big mouthful, Sterling, these people comes in and they take one little bit here, one little bit there, one little bit there, and they keep doing that. Eventually, when you realize the whole island gone. Listen, they did it to Cayman,
Yeah.
That same company did it Cayman, They came in bit, and what it does, they puts out little weans. I call them weans. They are the ones that call themselves entrepreneurs. They are the same people weaning off from the same group, But
so we have the news, right? Do you want to continue chatting if you want to hold on?
Yeah, I'll hold on, man.
All right, thanks, man. Thanks. The news is there, and we'll join the call after.
Follow Radio K-Man on Twitter. Radio K-Man on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio K-Man.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio K-Man's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
A series of town hall meetings are underway to get public feedback on the island's draft climate change policy. The Premier and other officials from the Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency hosted Little Cayman this weekend to discuss the policy and collect feedback. Between now and June 30th, meetings will be held in each district, but you can also go online and review the draft policy and other information at gov.ky/climate change policy. In international headlines, firefighters and other first responders are being credited with saving lives at great risk to their own safety after a 6-story apartment building in Iowa partially collapsed. That, according to authorities today. There were no confirmed fatalities and no known people still trapped this morning after a section of brick building in the eastern Iowa city of Davenport crashed to the ground. Fire Chief Michael Carlston said workers searched for survivors throughout the night and rescued one person from the 6-story building, bringing the total number of people rescued by fire officials to 8. An additional 12 people were escorted out by fire crews when they first responded to the collapse on Sunday evening. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez today called an early general election for July 23rd in a surprise move after his Socialist Party took a serious battering in local and regional elections. Prior to Sunday's debacle, Sanchez had insisted he would ride out his 4-year term with leftist government coalition partner United We Can, indicating that an election would be held in December. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio K-Man on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio K-Man app or log on to our website, radiokman.gov.ky.
The headline news are brought to you by Health Services Authority.
Health Services Authority is now offering online payment options for patients. Patients of HSA can now pay their bills, including deposits, towards scheduled services online at payments.hsa.ky. The secure, new online payment system accepts debit or credit cards and is in addition to the available payment options of cash, check, and online bank transfer. For quick, easy, and secure payment directly from your phone or computer, visit HSA's new online payment system at payments.hsa.ky.
Radio K-Man is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Born in Creek, Cayman Brac on the 25th of September 1939, Henry Mansfield Connolly was the third of 8 children for Henry Kitchener and Olive Connolly. As with many of the men of his generation, he went to sea at the tender age of 15 and worked for Mr. Southwell and National Bulk Carriers for some 30 plus years. During this time, he rose from being an oiler pumpman to the post of second engineer after completing correspondence engineer courses from a school in New York. He sailed on many ships, including the Universe Leader, Universe Defender, or Titan, or Venus, or Meteor, or Transport. After his tenure at National Bulk Carriers, he was one of the few Brackers who worked with Cayman Energy Company doing the ship-to-ship oil transfers off the island in the 1980s. After a medical injury, he retired from sea and started his own plumbing engineer company, C&H Plumbing.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thanks for listening. Certainly invite you to share your thoughts with us. So grateful that the caller was so amenable. Hey, thanks for staying on and listening to the news with us. But as you were sharing, what do you think? All right, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, no problem, sir. Sorry about that. I didn't know you were. So I couldn't be able to hear you break up.
Is it any better? Are you able to hear me? Cause
yeah, man, you clear. Yeah,
okay.
You clear.
All right, good stuff.
To get back on the point is when you stop, I'm not discrediting that the 3 islands don't need help from foreign investors. I'm not discrediting that, right? What I am saying is the government should look into the things that can help this country first, and then take it to that step. Don't just sell out the place and then expect to get it back from private entities that come in here, grabbing everything that they can. And every time I turn around and look at Cayman Brac, I see properties. I went on the bluff there some days ago selling something like 80 acres or 86 acres of land selling for millions of dollars, selling in God's name. Which local Caymanian, unless they're money laundering, to be able to buy that? These things should not be sold to foreign investors, because what they got to do with the bluff but destroy it. They're going to put it on golf course. We don't have no airport here big enough to supply all these big aircrafts coming in. Obviously, they will bring in their private jets. I understand. I can clearly see that. But where is it going to help the Caymanians that building their little homes to get peace and quiet, and then the next thing they got a helicopter landing next to them to rattle down their house? These kind of things, it is what people sit down and stress about day by day. They don't have no way to fish. They don't have no way to swim. We not gonna have no way to even lay our haven power raise on us here in the future, because I can guarantee anybody that as long as that system up there is running, the price on this electricity gonna go through the roof, where the people are not gonna be able to afford it, and they gonna cut people off because they have a system Sterling in place. I don't know if Cayman have that same what you call top-up system where you use a card.
The pay-as-you-go thing, huh?
Pay as you go. That I told people from the beginning, that was a scam in order for people to pay their bill when they can't afford it. The old system, you could have run till you could pay a little bit here, a little bit there. With this system, you have to have money up front in order to pay it. That was a sign that worse was to come from this power plant company here. Now that it's on that new entity, now it's going to be worse, because it's yet to fall on top of us where we're not going to be able to rebound from it. And who is going to help us? It's not owned by our government that we can cry to. It's not owned by our local people that we can cry to anymore. It's going to be owned by a private company. We can't run to them and ask them to hold off on our bill till we can get money for it. We can't. So why do the government allow CUC to do what they're doing to the people Cayman? Why do they allow Power and Light to do to the people up here what they're doing up here? Where's the help coming from, Sterling? Where's the help coming from? If I had all the money in the world, I would be more than willing to help people get a little solar panel put on their house in order to keep this self functioning through the day. But what's going to happen? The demand is going to be so high from this power company up here. That guy that just got to talking there, he not realize how hard it is for us here on this island. Cayman have choices. Cayman Brac don't have no choices. If we don't go with what's there, we sink. Can you imagine, Sterling? Can you imagine? That is the situation that the people is going to come under in the future. If the government don't put down their foot to help the people, the local people, and stop selling their birthright nearest corner of this earth to foreigners, how in the world are we going to have anything for our future here? I had a request when I had retired from the fire service in Sterling. I wanted to move to Panama. That was my first impulse, and my mother fell sick and I couldn't leave. But I wish I'd pick up my mother from here, and I'd flew to Panama and live there for the rest of my life. Because I understand the life there is so much better. I'm not saying that the life there is not going to get worse neither. Anywhere you go, it's going to get bad. But for a little small island like this, that we had fall, even my father had shares in that same power and light company. And before when he got retired, he could work no more, he sold his shares. So where is that going to lead us in the future? No way. Nowhere it's going to lead us, because everybody now that had shares there sold their shares. Nobody not going to say no more. So we back to square one.
But as I listen to you, and presumably, if we're in a democracy and a capitalist society, your concerns and comments certainly should ask people to maybe question certain things. But again, if there's so Black Power and Light was already a privately owned company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
locally private.
Yeah.
Locally.
Right. And someone else comes online and says, listen, there's 10 shares and I'll give you $1 for the share, and then people say that's a good price. Well, I would happy to take 10 cents, but I get $1. So if it's a bona fide transaction, the price is negotiated, everybody's agreeing to it, whether it's owned by 10 people, each got one share, or now it's owned by one person who has all 10 shares, or one entity, if it's still privately owned.
Yeah.
And I hear your concerns, right? And this is where maybe two things: government policy needs to be a little bit more mature, but then the populace, especially the voters, need to be a little more involved too in understanding where we're going and the time of day.
I don't even want to touch on that part about the voters and the politicians in this moment.
Let me take it far afield. Let me ask something else, right? You triggered a thought, so let me see where this goes, right?
All right.
We understand that the cost of electricity impacts the cost of living. Certainly, people can share if there's a monopoly situation, something as significant as that, how that could potentially play out. One or good or bad. But let's take gas. So what if an entity was able to buy a particular chain of gas companies, gas stations, and then supply our market? So just a hypothesis, right?
Well, I can quickly speak on that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one company here that the local people could go and credit their gas. Now, I'm not giving nobody right for crediting people, because that can come back and haunt you, bite you bad.
Mm-hmm.
But they could get credit there, and when the people take it over, they lock off the credit. It's not everybody that can walk around with $200 in their pocket a week.
Mm-hmm.
It was helping the people. So these are the things that comes down against us. When we have something to help us, we turn around and we sell it out to those other companies that coming in with no intentions of working along with the local people or living with the local people for how they live. They come to say, listen, I come in to make a profit, whether you like it or whether you don't. That is my rule, and that is all I'm doing. I'm not changing my rule for you. That is the mentality these people comes in here with. They just, it burns me up so much, Sterling, to see that so much of these high-end people come here and they buy. I walk across some days ago, walk across me, and I'm standing there not doing nothing. And because he owned a piece of house, piece of land, 200 feet east of me, he gave me that hard. Because he owns something here and looking after me like I'm a germ on this earth. These are the things that happen to us when we sell out everything that we own. And let's go back to that gas situation.
Mm-hmm.
We can't take that then and go and say, listen, can you give me 10 gallons of gas till next payday or Friday weekend, and I'll pay you. It's not that easy anymore, and that is where this fall down has ride out from the time we've had the big investors came in, and now the locals see how the investors make their big money, and they want to adapt to that style, so they sell out what they got to get in order to get this big gain quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And then it leaves us with having to make sure that we budget ourselves down the line 100% to make sure that we always have something in our hands to go put $400 of gas in a boat. We could do that one time. We can't do it now. We can't do it now because we don't have that that option to credit. And these are the things that happens to us through the times. And I mean, when it comes to owning something, the people sell everything and turn around. They don't have nothing. I have to give credit to one family group in Kimmenbrook. Sterling, you don't buy land from them, and they own 1/4, at least almost a quarter of this island up east. You don't buy land from them. They don't sell because they have family and they hand it down over the generations. They have something to go back on. These people come here. We don't have nothing to go back on right now. We can't even go on the bay anymore because government won't even give us the right that we got the right to go on the bay. So the people come and buy it out. We can't use that. We can't go on the beaches. We can't go to the stores and have a good credit anymore unless it's somebody that know you, know your mother, know your father to say, okay, I am willing to give you credit. These things are all going to come to an end.
Yeah.
It's going to come to an end.
Well,
I don't know how to say it, but it's going to come to an end up here, and that is where we up here we got to suffer.
Things are changing, my friend. Definitely not all for the better, but they're changing, right?
Yeah, and I just hope one day that the people will stand up and voice their opinion before things get too bad.
Yeah, man.
That is my goal.
All right. Well, we got to keep talking to you as often as you have time, right? All right?
Yeah, we talk again, though.
Thanks, Guo. Thanks. Let's take this other call. Hey, welcome. Thank you for holding on. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, Dwayne.
Hi.
Sorry to call you back again.
That's fine. That's fine. Glad you can.
I want to agree with that caller. The government should have bought the power light in Kimmenbrook because our government is going nowhere but the Cayman Islands. But when we allow a foreigner to come in and buy it, we only buying it for a profit. I want somebody to go online, or you guys to go on, or everybody to go online and read about what President Bill Clinton said in 2005 about Kenneth Stark, and he will give you a great idea of what his intentions is for us. But even when we did it to them, in my opinion, that's my opinion, nobody can change that. He has the same plans for us, but he will be deeper with us because he is buried deeper into our economy, much more than he did the rest so far from what I can understand. But he's going to do the same thing to us as what he did to Argentina and everywhere else because Caymanians, that almighty dollar, as the old people would say, has got them all blinded and they can only see Canada dollars now. But when he finished getting what he wants and when he's ready, he will soon show us who can start it. So I'm asking, go online and read. I sent you something on the WhatsApp or read that for the constituents. They can hear that for themselves. And that's coming out of the Bible. That is not from me. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. All right. It is open line. Let's take this other call. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. Thankful.
All right. Good to hear from you.
Sterling, our people are crying. Our people has no one to thank to. It is such a shame to see what has become of these 3 islands that we so call home, that our poor fathers went to sea to help build, now is being taken over by, I would say, Tom, Dick, and Harry. And the Caymanian has no say, and the Caymanian has no one to go to make a complaint and get anything changed to better us or to keep us safe and to take our advice, because one head sometimes is better. One more head is better than the 3 heads that may be working together and so forth, you know? But it just hurts to see how we are hurting. And it seems like no government, past, present, future government, is listening. They just keep turning a blind eye to us that is living here, that is from here, that these people come and find us here, and we're making people just come in here and step on us left, right, and center.
And it's so unfair to know that people can go to another man's country and do as they please and get away with it in any capacity. You know, you in your yard and your neighbor will look at you like you're a bowl of sour milk. Why are you living here on this island? Why are you here with us? And then the Caymanians are getting the same attitude as well, too. Where's the love and where's the care and where's the concern? We can't carry nothing with us, but we refuse to try to live good. I got a story to give you, but I know you're going to be going to news break shortly.
No, Mike, we got a few minutes if you want. If you want to share.
You have anyone coming on 1:30?
2.
Yeah.
We open line until 2 o'clock.
Until 2 o'clock?
And then we take a commercial break at 1:30. So we got, 7 minutes.
Okay. Okay, I'm still fighting for my my ID. I just can't seem to get the right ear to listen to my story in regards to my ID. For me to get my ID, it's been almost 4 months now that I haven't been on the road up here working. I can come out and work, but walk on the street, I am not going to work on the street. That is not my job. My job is to work professional as a taxi driver and ambassador for my island. And when they got talk about jobs for Caymanians, I want to know who's out there looking in to see if the Caymanians are really getting the jobs, and if Caymanians are having a problem, especially with an ID. Why is someone stepping up and say, you know what, this lady needs to go to work? Who's going to support her? But it's not finished yet. I'm just playing the fool until I can't play the fool no more. Sterling, we had a very big crop of mangoes this year. You know that, right? Mangoes are the way. And I'm quite sure there has been a few people who haven't got a mango to eat for this season. And we got some people who would share and some who don't want to share. They'd rather see them drop on the ground and spoil before they say, you know what? I'm going to share these because there's too much of me in my family or just me, whatever the case may be. Sterling, I have a neighbor, and we got along fine, as far as I'm concerned. And they have had a plum tree that grew in my yard, and I try my there best not to mess with it. People came there and picked on it. The mango trees would hang in my yard. I didn't trouble the mangoes. I was told that whatever by her and her ex-husband that whatever hangs in your yard is yours. I do not believe in that, Sterling. Because as far as I'm concerned, it is just a job for you to maintain when you want to clean your yard on your own or with a gardener. But whenever it becomes fruitful, it is not your tree no more. And that's not why I do not believe in it. Because, Sterling, that is your tree. That is your mangoes. You pick your mangoes. So we've been having some problem. Mango on the borderline of my property. And then the individuals there are breaking in over the fence with a pick stick to pick the mangoes. A tenant. And I plainly said to him, I say, sir, you can come in the yard freely to pick the mangoes. Don't think for a second that I want any one of these mangoes, but I do not need these mangoes. I don't have any mango trees. I had them and got destroyed. But Sterling, I have had more mangoes this year and I could eat. I gave away till I couldn't give away anymore. They was given to me, and I made it a point to try to share as far as I could share with what was given to me.
Right.
When I go home, mangoes are on my door waiting for me with a note who they're coming from and so forth.
Oh, that's nice, huh?
But no, Sterling, what I'm trying to say is, if you're going to be a real, you know what, about your mango tree, I told them, I say, listen to me. Just how you want to come and pick your mangoes, you make sure you pick up every mango leaf and drop in my property. Because if they can be a B, I can be a bigger BBB. You understand? So I just want to say that this is what I'm doing now, picking up mango leaves every morning that does not belongs to me. And, I do the bag. After I put them mango leaves in that bag, I just sail it right back out the fence. Because I don't live like that. But if they want to live like that, I can live like that too. And I'm not going to trouble their mangoes. But I tell them, I want them limbs that's hanging on my property taken off. Because if I got to get my gardener and pay my gardener to remove them, then they're going to be a pretty picture. So I'm just asking the owner. I send message. I spoke to them about having these limbs removed from my property because I want no trouble with nobody over a little plum a mango or a guinea or whatever the case may be, because if I want those things, Sterling, I can go and purchase those things from the local market. And I got friends who have things.
Mm-hmm.
I am not one that got to have a breadfruit at a time. The breadfruit season is out, or a mango, or a plum, or a this or that. I am not like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like to be exact, because we are neighbors, and if we can't live good as neighbors, we sure as hell can't live as good friends as at a far distance across the pond. And Cayman is becoming across the pond lately with neighbors and so-called friends. But I just want to get back to say, Sterling, we people of this island, who is here for us? I want to find out who's here for us. That when we have a problem, we can go and talk to those people and find a solution before we come out here and do things that we're the one that going to get locked up. Like Mr. Kim and Brock just said, these people looking at him like he's not nobody. He is a somebody. Everybody in Kim and Brock is a somebody. You come to my little island to live. You come and find human beings here. You treat them in respect. And that's what we're not getting on these 3 islands. And everybody thing is just fine. But Sterling, let me tell you something, sweetheart. Things are not looking good for this Cayman Island. And I pray that nothing's happened drastically. But something has to give, something to wake up. We need some waking up on this island. Some serious waking up.
Well, I hope we wake up and together we work, sensibly together. But thank you for sharing. I'm so sorry that sometimes that's how we are with our neighbors,
Yes.
All right.
Sad. Well, thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
If I get some more mangoes, I'll bring you some.
I'll happily enjoy them, and I will share them as well. Because the team here, boy, we seem to...
I'll phone call this evening to find out if my son has any more to get some from her, and I'll get a couple to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You have a great one.
You too.
Bye, darling.
Bye. That's the kindness that we see as the lady shared. She'd come home and friends and family and others will bring some mangoes because it's been a bumper crop. But as she also shared, sometimes, as we are with family and friends and co-workers and neighbors in the communities, that we're not as connected. And that could be for many reasons. Sometimes we don't feel that we know the person. Sometimes we are a bit reticent to reach out. Sometimes we've done it in the past with someone and we thought, well, that didn't go too good, so let me be a little bit more cautious and hesitant in doing it again. But if we are purpose to be good people, even though we may have had bad experiences, perhaps we need to, not let that redefine us into being people that we are not comfortable, not that nice, kind, generous, loving people that we want and probably are. All right, let's pause, take this break. When we come back, as we shared, we have open line until 2 o'clock, and we can talk about anything. I'm willing to listen. Might even have an answer for you, but I might just listen. Hey, stay tuned for Talk Today.
They say variety is the spice of life, and that's why at Subway we're introducing the new boneless hot sub. Say what? The premium sub brings new ingredients like spicy breaded boneless chicken, French's crispy fried onions, and buffalo wing sauce, bringing a zesty and flavorful experience with every bite. Add some of your favorite veggies, cheese, and ranch sauce of your choice of freshly baked bread for the ultimate boneless hot sub. For a little spice in your life, try the new boneless hot sub from Subway.
So good and tasty.
And make it a meal with a drink and chips or cookies. Subway. Eat fresh.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Have you recently quit smoking? Are you having trouble fighting the urge? Breathing deeply can help when the urge strikes. Take deep breaths and imagine your lungs filling up with fresh, clean air. Get more tips like this at the Smoking Cessation Program at the Public Health Department. Classes begin on Wednesday, May 31st. Call 244-2889 for registration. This message is brought to you by the Public Health Department in conjunction with the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care, close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thanks for sharing with us. It's open line until 2 o'clock. 949-8837, 949-6990. Toll free with the compliments of flow if you want to call. That route is 1-800-534-8255. And of course, you can WhatsApp 925-32621. Let me read this WhatsApp message from one of our listeners who is quoting scripture. And I'll do my best to look at it. Hopefully the screen will pull it up. It's from Deuteronomy. I think, is that... No, if the screen would just pull up and cooperate. Chapter 2, is it? Oh, you're in the days when you don't see. So maybe Deuteronomy chapter 28, I believe it is. Verses 43. And it's interesting how maybe the callers initially talked about how many of us will use scripture, and like from the politician to the pastor, even to the parent. But this screenshot says, from this passage in Deuteronomy, so foreigners who live in your land will gain more and more power, while you gradually lose yours. They will have money to lend you, but you will have none to lend them. In the end, they will be your rulers. I've heard that scripture from many a preacher, many times from the pulpit share, even in Bible study from time to time. And I question to what extent sometimes as we look at things, even now when we talk about the last days, even now, some would see in the last couple of years and reference what is happening and speak, oh, this is the mark of the beast. Well, I will share with you. I don't have a lot of insight into that. I don't dismiss the way we utilize certain things to influence our behaviors or affect others. Some would probably tell you from, as budding historians, that the pamphlets and the like that were dropped, during World War II, serve as much as, for propaganda as it is to instill fear in people, and as a result, offer up a semblance of control to convince you you're defeated even long before you've started the battle. Perhaps oftentimes we look at things and we see the importance of finance, as much as some of us are not a fan of a former president of the U.S., the one before, the one that's there now, Trump. He allegedly had said one time on one of those reality shows that he had, when I was speaking about his success, he says, if you borrow $1 million or even $10 million from the bank, they own you. You know, when you borrow $1 billion or $2 billion, you know, you own them. You have a say. Fast forward to sometime more recently, when much was being said about, you know, is a bank too big to fail? Is a company too big to fail? Will governments come out? And the former U.S. President Obama, on his administration, came up with a rescue plan. They aptly termed it TARP, T-A-R-P. And despite what each letter may stand for, the acronym reads, and the word TARP, as I understand, is something used to cover up something. Sometimes we hide in plain sight. I want to say that to share that the less and less involved we are and less informed that we become, perhaps easier it is to ignore the obvious, to be distracted by the red herrings, and to be so consumed with this, again, trading water, that we do little. And even if worse, when we have such malice in our hearts and are so begrudgeful that we don't want to see our own succeed, enjoy their success because of their hard work. We are quick to cry them down, from the vehicles that they buy. We question how they get them, to their promotions that they worked hard. We wonder what they did. Let's take this call. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, man. Thank you for calling. How are you?
Oh, I'm out here still trying to seek freedom from religion.
Well, that's a good thing. Maybe.
From religion.
Talk to me, man. Why is that?
Oh, because none of it is true. Does truth not matter to you?
Why? And listen, I want you to share as you wish, right? Because I can only learn if I listen to what you have to say. Don't mean I necessarily have to agree with you. When I say you, I don't mean you specifically, right? But if I'm not willing to listen, then I certainly won't be able to hear what you said. So give me your perspective.
What was that reference you made a short while ago about the being in the last days?
Oh, I read a passage of scripture sent by one of the readers that talked about, people will, foreigners in your land will own your wealth and lend you money, but you have none to lend them. And then some will talk about, end times, there'll be a mark of the beast, where the little bit that we know, it talks about, being able to buy or sell, be able to go or come unless you present this and submit yourself. And there are those who subscribe heavily to that, and then there are those who, perhaps don't as much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My whole, I guess, contention with Christianity in particular is the whole idea of the mass amount of people throughout the world that adhere to this religion, that their whole sole intention in this life is to pray for some God to return to earth to destroy all of this wonderful technology and the wonderful advances that humans have made to make life better for people. But Christians, the only mantra that they have is to run around and pray for God to return to destroy this. Does that make sense to you?
So would you, again, I certainly enjoy chatting with you publicly or privately, right? In your perspective, with the greatest respect, would you describe yourself as atheist, agnostic? How would you sort of describe yourself?
I'm an atheist.
Atheist, as opposed to agnostic, right?
And an atheist simply means that I do not have enough information to accept the proposition of the existence of a God. I have insufficient evidence for that.
Okay. So for you need to see, feel, touch, smell, taste in order to seeing is believing, right?
Yeah, and then reading that Bible will make you an atheist if you really read it.
How so?
Because if people would read and understand that thing, it is the most vicious, the wicked. There's more wickedness, more murder. You believe in murder? You believe in genocide? You believe in the annihilation of an entire group of people just for the sake to satisfy some god's thirst for control?
The Bible, I certainly agree with you when you read of the many atrocities committed in the Bible. There are many things that would put you in a bit of disquiet. But at the end of the day, I mean, there are much good. There's much instruction and counsel. How do you reconcile that sort of discussion when some would say, well, the world just couldn't have just come out of nothing? I mean, there must have been some sort of creator to bring about the creation.
Who created the creator?
Who created the creator?
Yeah.
How would you?
He came from nothing. You get nothing from nothing. No, the whole I guess the whole idea of human existence or of the universal existence of the whole universe happened naturally. Our existence happened through natural selection. Darwin, study Darwin. People would learn something if they would just read science as opposed to one book called the Bible or the Quran.
Right. It is interesting, and I'm going to be mindful because I recognize that this discussion can quickly become emotive with many of us who have little or no knowledge speaking with some authority, right? But let me ask. Something I was wondering, we are people, and you referenced Darwin, so natural selection, and then I guess the idea of evolution, this thing becoming that thing and adapting and moving on and evolving, right?
Absolutely.
But where did that thing that started everything, where did that come from?
From the ether.
The ether.
It happened naturally, and I think it is totally useless and senseless for us to waste time wondering about that.
But
my great great grandfather or his great great grandfather or any of my ancestors from wherever they started.
Yeah.
They lived and died, and they didn't know where they came from. What difference is it going to make if I find out?
No, I hear what you're saying, right? But if I may ask you, that ether, that dust, that whatever, all right? Obviously, like men who say, well, if there was a God and he created, man, where did that God come from? But so too, where did that dust, where did that initial thing come from? I mean, that must have come from somewhere too.
Yeah. It's happening. It's happening as we sit here in outer space. It's happening as we sit here. There's planets being born and planets dying.
Okay.
Stars being born and stars dying.
Yeah.
As we sit here, it's happening.
Yeah.
And Sterling, before I go,
yes, sir.
I would like to point out one very important fact to this community.
Mm-hmm.
Religion is a terrible thing for humanity. It does more harm than it does good, and no one can tell me otherwise. The fact that science allows and causes mankind to crash space ships and rockets into other planets in search of advancement to make our lives better on this earth.
Yes, sir.
Religion, please let me finish.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Religion causes people to fly airplanes into buildings.
Right.
Yes, but science, on the other hand, allows man and causes man to go seek.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't want to disrespect you or take too much of your time, but if you would allow me to ask one question. Many of us are driven by fear. Many of us are afraid of certain things. Are you? Anything in particular that sort of scares you? Are you afraid of anything?
I'm aware of things that I need to be afraid of.
Okay.
And the one thing that I have more fear of than anything else is my fellow man.
Mm-hmm.
Because he has more ability to cause my demise or to assist me in my efforts to better my life. He has more to do with that than anything else. So my fear would be another human being.
Right. And I can understand that. And again, this is just me, right? I don't profess to know a whole lot about religion or any of that stuff, right? But I was just thinking, based on what you just answered, and I agree with you. You know, we can be, as the human, we can be horrible to one another, right? I don't think that you can work your way into heaven. There are people who may believe that, so I don't want to offend them. But
that doesn't exist.
Right? No, fair enough. But based on that, I was just wondering what you said. If we are cognizant that as humans, how horrible we are to each other, how horrible we can, what if we all, worked together, worked good, did the best that we can to get along the best we can, and at the end of the day, all that ended up happening, we live better lives, we didn't have to live in that fear of one another, harming each other. And if for some reason that good thing that we were doing while we lived ended up that was how we end up into a better space after this, what's the loss by working, being kind, helpful, loving? It takes away the fear initially, and what if it end up being a greater reward? How do we lose if we live good together and work good together?
But are you suggesting that religion has the monopoly on morality and being kind to each other? No, I think that comes naturally. We as human beings learn in our early development. We learn that it's better to be kind and helpful to each other because that is more beneficial than to be mean and hateful and vicious to each other.
Right. Yeah, man.
Religion didn't.
Yeah, man. Well, I guess it helps us to determine that morality, right and wrong, ethics, integrity. It could help us to maybe define and cement those things. But I appreciate your perspective, man. Anything else you want to share with us?
Well, there's a whole lot of things I'd like to share with you, but
all right, we talk with you, really. All right.
It's difficult to. That's
fine. Next time, then. All right. Thanks very much, sir. Thanks very much.
As I think about it, I'll call you.
Yes, sir. All right. You have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Sterling.
You're most welcome. All right. Let's take some more calls. Oh, my apologies. Let's take a break, then take the calls. Stay tuned.
Busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
Cayman Art Week brings you 5 days of art events and exhibitions from Tuesday the 30th of May to Saturday the 3rd of June, all free and open to the public. Visit galleries and studios anytime throughout the week or hop on one of the buses running guided tours around a different district each night. Don't miss this chance to explore Cayman's local art scene. Meet some of the artists or buy some art of your own. Check out what's happening each day, where the party's at, and how to catch a bus tour by visiting CaymanArtWeek.com.
SNAP Clinical Camp is back and will be extended to a 2-week summer camp from July 4th to July 14th. Is your child between the ages of 6 and 11 years and experiencing behavioral issues? Do you want your child to learn proven methods to support emotion regulation and effective problem solving? Do you want your child to have an unforgettable start to their summer? Then contact the Family Resource Center at frc@gov.ky to register your child. The deadline for registration is May 31st. Volunteer opportunities are also available. Family Resource Center. Building people, building families.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. And we've got our news at 2. Guest scheduled thereafter. But we want to take all of these calls, and I'm going to do my best to make sure we get it. So 4 calls, 8 minutes, 2 minutes each. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yes, Sterling.
Yes, sir.
I don't like my mother raised me and told me must not argue the Bible, but I couldn't just sit down and listen to that man. That has to be the sickest voice I've ever heard in my entire life. If you have an issue with other people's religion, go home, lock your door, and shut your mouth. Don't come on the radio talking about there's no God and about how he know Darwin is who Darwin is if there's no God. I just, an atheist, you know what God called them people? God, in his word, called them a fool. He said they have their place in the lake of fire. I would like to bring him in the front of my face and ask him if he would like me to kill him. And if he could come back to life, tell me what a life was when he was dead, then now that he come back. He said he's not afraid of nothing, or he's afraid of something, he said. So if he don't believe in God, and he don't think that there's a God or anything else, why is he afraid?
Anyway,
I don't want to scrutinize that, Sterling, but my God say I must stand and defend him, and that is why I call him. Because the people that heard his voice right now is let me tell you something, it's a lot more that would like to call him right now, the voice on him. And that is a sick individual. That's all I have to say, Sterling. Have a good day. We talk again.
All right, man. Prayer goes a long way, so pray for each other with prayer. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Let's take this other caller. Welcome. Good afternoon.
Yeah, afternoon, Sterling.
Afternoon, man. How are you?
How are you doing?
All right. I'm going to just ask you to be brief because I want to take all the other calls before the news, okay? So I apologize for that.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, I would like to make the biggest comment on top of that guy that was calling about the atheist business because I still don't believe in those things. I'm a conservative person, and I was raised by the Presbyterian church family. And as much as a challenge as it is to be with religion, I still do find it very difficult to believe in those people that do believe in God. But I believe in God as well, and God don't give me no more than I can bear. I have seen some really terrible people on this island, and I'm talking about Christians as well. But if we keep judging each other just by what we do and what we say, there'll always be atheists on this island. And there'll always be atheists in this world. But I remember there is if she's listening right now, I won't be calling any names, but if she does recognize this voice, I do have family members here on this island that are religious, that are Christians, and they will put people down just by their beliefs, and they'll believe that they're any more better than you. And I have a child, thankfully from last year, January the 6th, she was born.
Congrats, man.
And ever since that day, I've realized who it is there that is for you as family. And as religion comes in, you hear the people that will tell you, "Oh, you really? Are you serious? You have a baby? Do you have a house? Do you have this? Do you have that?" I be like, sometimes it's about a man's choice of what he wants to do. And if I don't have a house, or if I don't have all of those money that you have, that doesn't make me any less righteous than you. So, you know.
Thanks, man. I hear you, man. And we'll pick it up again, but allow me to take these other calls, all right?
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.
Appreciate it. Welcome, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Hello, Dwayne.
Hey, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. I couldn't help but call in, and I heard Rahman talking. So he says he's an atheist. I just wanted to let him know that being kind to people doesn't put you in heaven. And I would like to just say that I would pray for him that the Lord will hold back time a little longer so he'll have time to see that he's misled and confused, and God might give him a chance to. God will give him a chance. It's up to him to take it, to make his wrong right, because he's not going to like what he faces after he leaves this old sinful world if he doesn't change his mind or whatever. I feel sorry for him, but anyway, can't believe that people can be so misled about God. But anyway, I'll leave you there.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling. Hello. Good afternoon.
Yeah, is it my turn now?
It is your turn. Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks for giving me a turn. I listened at the sort of middle part of what the atheist person was saying, and then to the others who spoke afterwards.
We do have one other caller after you, then the news, right? So respectfully, I don't want to rush you, but I'm going to ask you to work with me.
Yes. Yeah, sure. I'm almost there.
Yes, sir.
About to make my point. Two things.
Yes, sir.
Then the Bible comes in two parts. The Old Testament, which applies to people other than Christians, and the New Testament, which is our covenant. If we try to get both of them mixed up, you can have two covenants about the same subject and both of them be enforced or enforceable. And any lawyer will tell you that. Secondly, this man spoke about not having enough evidence for a God. Everything is evidence-based and empirically determined. Well, if we say that we are proclaiming this God to be the creator, and he says that there's no evidence for a God or a creator, that doesn't make any sense, because everything around us is the evidence for some creator, since it's our creation.
Mm-hmm.
All the evidence is for God.
Right.
All of the evidence is for a creator. I cannot see how any lawyer, for instance, could ever say that the evidence. Any lawyer could say, I'm an atheist, for instance, because he couldn't go to court and present the evidence that there's no God. All the evidence says there is one.
All right. Well, hey, thanks. Do we have time for one quick call? All right, good afternoon. Welcome.
Hello, good afternoon, Dwayne.
Hey, Billy, good afternoon, man.
I'm good, but according to my time, I'm already on the hour. I can't even speak. What do you want me to do?
Man. You know what? That's a good question. We got the news. We got a guess. Maybe we will ask you to pick us up another time.
Yeah, okay. I might as well do that. I don't want to throw you off your time. Okay,
no.
Thanks very much.
You are a gentleman. Thank you, sir.
For the thought.
Thank you. You see, we all are submissive to something. Let's take the news, and when we come back, we'll have our scheduled guests. Please join us. It's going to be very informative and lively. Stay tuned.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news. Brought to you by Tropical Plaza on Smith Road.
This Thursday, the Civil Service will find out who will be named the 2022 Employee of the Year. The Deputy Governor Awards program recognizes civil servants who embody the vision, purpose, mission, and values of government, and whose activities help to advance the goals of the Civil Service's 5-year strategic plan. The celebration marks the 10th anniversary of the Deputy Governor's Award program. In international headlines, U.S. President Joe Biden lauded the sacrifice of generations of U.S. troops who died fighting for their country as he marked Memorial Day with the traditional wreath-laying ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery. Biden was joined by First Lady Jill Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and Harris's husband Douglas Emhoff for the 155th National Memorial Day observance. Today's federal holiday honored America's fallen service members and comes a day after Biden and Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy reached final agreement on a deal that would raise America's debt limit and that now awaits approval by Congress. A Libyan court today sentenced 23 suspected Islamic State group militants to death for launching deadly attacks that killed dozens of people, including Egyptian Coptic Christians. The appeals court in the western city of Misrata also sentenced 14 other militants to life in prison who were convicted on the same charges, which include destruction of police facilities and public property. The court sentenced 9 defendants to between 3 and 12 years in prison. It acquitted 5 suspects. The court did not provide further details. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news. Brought to you by Tropical Plaza on Smith Road. Tropical Plaza Variety Store. From knickknacks to quick snacks, odds and ends, and that convenient fix. Across from Cayman Prep, Smith Road in Tropical Plaza. Tropical Plaza Variety Store. A corner store with so much more. Tropical Plaza Variety Store. Tropical Plaza on Smith Road. Things come up. That's life. But it doesn't mean I can't show up. From a runny nose, stubbed toes, to earache woes, headaches, backaches, and tummy aches. When things come up, Best Health Pharmacy over-the-counter solutions get you back in the game. Best Health Pharmacy, located at Crown Square Plaza on Eastern Avenue, across from Edie's Decor. Best Health Pharmacy, your health, your convenience is their priority. Best Health Pharmacy also offers free prescription delivery anywhere in Georgetown and West Bay. Call 949-1301 or WhatsApp your prescription to 924-5358.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I think Shakespeare reminds us, if music be the fruit of love, play on, they say. I think the scripture talks about make a joyful noise. And for those of us who try, whether it's in the shower or it's in, in front of assembled friends and family, we try to make that joyful noise. Well, to our friends at the Cayman Arts Festival, Mr. Myers, good afternoon to you, man.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having us here today. Again.
Well, it's a pleasure, man. And with your acquiescence and direction, perhaps we'll speak first to Miss Naomi Alcott. Not a quiet director. Many of us are, as parents, are accustomed to be, in the audience. There's this person back onto us. The students are on stage, and this person, just like in church sometimes, waving their hands and the like. And I've always been mindful. Is that just to sway to the beat, or are they like, hey, a little higher, a little lower? It's almost like a sign language.
That's a really good question.
But
That's a very good question.
I appreciate Maria sent it to me to ask.
So, that's why I brought 2. Maybe we can convince 2 choir directors today that are here.
Obviously, what I would say is that when you're conducting a choir, you have a really important job is to bring the energy that you want the choir to have. So the energy is really important. And then obviously just helping them out to know when to start, when to finish. Yeah. And just feeling the music enough that they can experience with you and have a joyful moment in that, I think. I mean, obviously, Mark here is obviously much more experienced than me in this field.
I don't know Mark, okay, well, she's referring to Mark Dillis, and your resume is very impressive. And welcome. Good afternoon to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a joy to be here.
It's a pleasure, man. And this is why I believe sometimes that, like food, music is one of those things that bring you together. Not only sport. You sit, you fellowship, you enjoy. And maybe the choir director that is getting the tenor up a little bit and the alto, and like perhaps too, like the orchestra.
It's like building a community, I suppose, isn't it? You're building that community of people coming together to have a shared goal of making music. And as you said, music is so important.
It is.
And you've always been the biggest.
I love music.
You do love music.
Honestly, and even if there is some genre that I think, well, that can't possibly be classed as music, all right? If a person enjoys it, I want them to enjoy it and be able to do so. I grew up listening from classical to country, to calypso, and it didn't matter to me. It was music. My friends from Brazil with the samba, like, I don't relate, but I can see the math. So, Mark, in asking that, for many of us, is it innate when it comes to music and singing in particular? Is it something that even me could learn? I mean, even a caveman could,
anyone can learn. And I think that, we are all born musicians. I think this is the thing that we have to understand. Within the womb, the first thing we hear is rhythm, which is the heartbeat of the mother, right? And so that's the thing that we have with us for that whole period of time, for those 9 months. And then as soon as we exit the womb, there's that instant thing of inward breath and then an outward exhale. And that outward exhale is a long, sustained tone, which is singing. So for me, we are born singers. Yeah. We don't come out of the womb and say, wow, it's chilly. We don't do that, all right? We come out of the womb and we make a long, sustained cry. So for me, everybody has music within them, and that is how for the first few months of our lives, that's the only way we communicate, is by sound.
Yeah, but isn't it strange, though, as we get older and we get into the formal education system, that music that we sort of emanates from us is quieted.
Yes.
Right? We don't want to hear the child.
That's really sad. You're quite right. It is quite sad. It's because we expect that you can only hear things that are perfect. And perfection isn't the experience. And that's what we're both really passionate about with this festival that we have this week, is that everybody coming together to sing, and that feeling of community and unitedness through the art of singing is the most important thing of all. If it sounds great at the end, that's obviously lovely, but the actual experience of doing it is vitally important. And I think we've all forgotten that, exactly as you said, that we're looking for perfection, that we're looking for things to be, wonderful to listen to. But what about the act of doing it? What about that feeling of joy, the utter joy that you get from being part of something? We really should be focusing on that instead.
I think you just got me my campaign phrase. Stop looking for perfection, by looking in the mirror, right? But start looking for contribution by looking in the mirror.
Yeah, exactly.
Mark, that idea that song can resonate in such a way that there are some people that they sing or they speak that you feel it. You literally can feel it vibrating within you, but then you feel it in your spirit, But we see music as being, especially a singer. Oh, she can't sing. Oh, she's a fantastic Whitney Houston. Pop's the greatest, Tina Turner. That's soulfulness. But yet that young child that is learning, if not encouraged and nurtured, could be, the next Whitney, for instance.
Exactly.
But we stop them. So how do we get our youth this week to a space where they appreciate that it isn't just that one that's selected by the teacher, it's all of us that has the promise?
Yeah, it's the encouragement. And I guess for me, what I do in my everyday work with choirs and singers is give them license to just make sound. License to open their mouth and create whatever comes out and appreciate what comes out. That's the most important thing. I work with a lot of singers, and oftentimes they come and they talk about a past experience, and that past experience may be a friend or a parent or a teacher or whatever may have said something ever so slightly negative at a moment in their life, and that has stopped them from singing. And for me, I'm always like, okay, let's go back to that. Let's speak to that trauma and say, listen, that wasn't true. I want you to open and be joyful with what is coming out of your mouth. You mentioned right at the top of this that the Bible says make a joyful noise.
Yeah.
Now, whenever we talk about noise, right, noise, it kind of resonates with us as a negative.
Yes.
Do you understand me? But the Bible says that. It says make a joyful one.
Yes.
As opposed to a tuneful one. It didn't say that.
It didn't say that, yeah.
It said make a joyful one. So if the joy is coming from your heart, and if you have a desire just to open your mouth and be heard, man, that's a great place to be.
And the confidence that singing can give. You ever come home with your child, your spouse, maybe a sibling, maybe a flatmate in the shower? It certainly is noise and thankfully joyful, and they come out and they go, "Oh, sorry, I didn't know anybody was home. No, I was here for the last hour and you sounded great."
Yeah.
Right? And there's a peace, there's a confidence, there's a celebration.
Yeah,
right?
Celebration, exactly.
Celebration.
Yeah.
And I wonder when it's the performing arts, whether it's the instrumentalist, whether it's the vocalist, that can translate into the person being on stage and giving a presentation, the toast that they're waiting, the valedictorian
It doesn't
graduation.
always have to be a performance, does it? It can be confidence in other aspects of their life. You know, we're talking about performance, obviously, but that innate ability we all have to converse with somebody, being able to sing, not being able to sing, being part of singing, taking part in singing is going to make you able to communicate better, to understand the environment that you're in. And some of the young people who are coming this week have challenges in their lives.
Yes.
Whether that be children from the Lighthouse School or whether that be some of our at-risk youngsters who really need some positivity in their lives. So that act of taking part in something is going to assist them in hopefully making more positive choices in the coming weeks and hopefully in their futures as a whole.
Mark, and sort of preparing for this discussion, I reached out to a friend and he was reminded when his son was part of the school play. And I think the recollection is correct. He was offered one of the leading parts, not because he was the best vocalist by any means, but diligent, determined, willing to take instruction. And the father, like everybody else in the family, very kind, loving, supportive, would agree, as would the son, that thankfully it was joyful because it was indeed almost painful. And yet the vocal coach, the choir director, kept working. The young lad put in the time. And you could see not just the confidence, but the improvement.
Yeah.
That inspired me to think even me one day could sound...
Even you.
It's...
it could be anyone. I mean, we have so many people throughout here with music that haven't been what we would consider to be the best. Bob Dylan, for example, all right? Not the best vocalist, but it's something that comes from the heart.
Yeah.
And that is what translates when you listen to them, when you feel what they're singing, when you experience what they're experiencing from their performance. My goodness, that moves you. You know, we talk about it in church all the time. The person that can go up and tell their story with ultimate truth. We are moved by that,
right?
You know, and I think that's the most important thing. So yes, even you.
I see.
If there's an authenticity in what you do, I think that's the thing, isn't it? That if it's authentically you, then people can they believe in that, you know. And it shouldn't matter, like we said, it shouldn't matter how good your voice is. It's the what you are doing, the act of being part of something and the act of communicating something is the important thing.
Maybe Bob Dylan was right. The answer is Blowing in the Wind.
It is.
But Bob Dylan versus a Tracy Chapman.
Oh.
I mean, you know, it's like the cat on the blackboard screaming versus such a melodic, powerful.
Well, I'm gonna give you a story, right?
I like stories.
And that happened to me some years ago. I was asked to teach some actors. Okay. So I had a class of 15, and my role was to kind of lead them into singing. None of them sang before, so I said, "All right, cool. We're going to lead you into singing," and the majority of them can sing. One of them, one guy who will remain nameless because he's pretty well known now. But anyway, he every week he would get up and the singing wouldn't be the best. Okay, wouldn't be the best at all, and the class would often laugh. You know, and they'd be discreet about it, but the shoulders would be going, you know, and they'd be chuckling in the corners. The final week, I thought, okay, cool. I want you guys to prepare something that you want to sing to the class. He came as diligent as ever, and he got up and he started to sing. Now, before he sang, I set up the environment because they're actors, right? So I said, okay, here is a girl. You're going to sing a love song. He told me prior. Here's a girl. I'm going to sit her down on a chair, and I'm going to get you to sing to her. You can stroke her face, you can hold her hand, do whatever you want, but just communicate your song to her. Passion. And I said to the girl, you just don't react. Yeah, don't react at all. You can close your eyes, don't react. Anyway, he sang this song, and it wasn't perfect, but we were all in tears. Every single person in the class, and we looked around at each other like, why are we crying? So I thought I was a genius, right? I thought, okay, I've created something here and I've fixed this guy. He's now a great singer. brilliant, amazing, but, you know, he's better than he was.
Right.
But it had nothing to do with me. At the end of the class, we walked out of the room, and he rushed over to me and he said, Mark, I just want to thank you. I said, why? And he said, I've been here for 3 years. This is the final year of my acting degree. And the first day that I walked into this class, I fell in love with that girl that you put on the chair. And this is the first time that I'm able to tell her. Yeah. So what he sang with was absolute authenticity.
Passion.
Passion,
Authentic.
desire, truth. And what we felt was all of that, and it moved us. And nobody felt that. Nobody felt it more that day than ever, you know, because it was just the most brilliant performance. All right. So it has to come from the heart.
Yeah. And with that, perhaps when we come back from this break, share with us what the workshop's going to look like, and maybe how do we can take away as individuals, whether it's a song that we just want to serenade that loved one, whether we just want to sound better in the shower, whether it's actually a dream someday to perform. You know, there's open mic night somewhere, there's your friends who do a karaoke. Instead of you being the butt of the joke, maybe you can surprise them and sound a lot more like Charlie Pride than one of the politicians. Well, anyway, that's a different story. We can talk about that after the break. All right.
Thank you.
And we'll get Myers to sing. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
How can you make a classic BLT sandwich even better? Well, by adding tuna. The land meets the sea in Subway's new sandwich, the Tuna BLT, available for a limited time. The Tuna BLT is exploding with flavor. Imagine crispy, juicy bacon strips on top of tuna, fresh lettuce, and slices of tomato, topped with your favorite sauce and choice of freshly baked bread. Enjoy the best of both worlds with the Tuna BLT from Subway. Subway, eat fresh.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Is inviting vendor applications for a permit to sell or trade goods and or services on 7 Mile Public Beach. Interested applicants can access the application form and policy by visiting the Public Lands Commission webpage at www.gov.ky/PLC or by visiting the call office at Unit A7 on ground floor of Crown Square Plaza at 71A Eastern Avenue in Georgetown. For more information, email plc@gov.ky or call 946-7110.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Be a part of a discussion and talk to our friends over at Cayman's Festival. It's expanded. So, Ms. Neiman, to you and Marius and the others, thanks very much for what you do. If I might, though, this week you've got a training workshop, you've got a festival.
Yeah, so we called it the Stronger Together Choral Festival. Obviously, choral means singing together in a group, and a festival because there's multiple events. And Stronger Together because I think we are all stronger together when we are in song.
Mm-hmm.
And what we really wanted to do was to get as many young people from as many different places coming together to sing as we could. So we will have Cayman Youth Choirs. But then really importantly, we've got young men from the Boys to Men programme at John Gray High School. From our Year 10 programme, we have about 35 of those coming to sing with us. Some of them will have never sung in a choir before.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them probably have never performed in front of people before. So it will be a really new experience for them.
Mm-hmm.
And as well, we have our Rise Girls and Girl Force Girls. And they are very similar, that some of them are in at-risk situations and may struggle with feelings of positivity about their lives and their self-esteem and their place in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And through song, we're hoping that they will start to feel a sense of connection, not only with themselves, but with those around them. But amazingly, we also have Lighthouse School coming to join us. So not only do we have these youngsters who may be struggling with issues of their own self-esteem and issues with their home lives or other challenges they may have, but also I have students from the Lighthouse School who have more complex challenges. Those people who maybe don't access performing quite so easily. And Mark has been absolutely fantastic. When I was speaking with him about this and the school had asked me what level of functioning were we going to, and he said everybody needs to come. This is inclusive. This week is entirely inclusive. We want everybody to be involved. So if that means that for some of the Lighthouse students they can't access the singing because maybe they feel they're not able to do so, we'll have drums for them to play.
Yeah.
And the thing is that in the concert at the end of the week, we're hoping that everybody will lift them up. And this collective lifting of our young people, I think, is something that's vitally important. And, you know, the act of coming together in music, I think, is something that we are all very passionate about. And I'm really excited about the week ahead and having these young people being able to work with Mark, who is obviously incredibly inspiring, but also working with each other. I think maybe that's even more inspiring, this thing of being around people and creating music and seeing how that affects them. The changes that they can make by being part of something, the positivity that could bring. And also for some of our young people as well, having their parents be proud of the choices that they're making.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so, Mark, as I listen to Naomi, I'm cognizant of, you know, whether it's a drum circle or the barbershop quartet. For many of us, as Naomi shared, having your parents, not just your peers, but your parents in particular, see you in a light they didn't think as kind and encouraging and nurturing as they are. They're your parents. You know, you can't sing that good. I mean, you know. And inadvertently, unintentionally, they may somehow create that negativity. I like the word you used earlier, trauma. We see trauma sometimes as a physical thing, but we don't understand how important that word. That teacher may have said something, even your parent, you know, okay, don't sing too loudly, you don't sound that good. As kind as they said it, that could affect the self-esteem, the self-confidence, the self-image. If you can sing and belt it out loudly and you can be joyful in it, who knows where that will propel you.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right that there's so much that we take from our childhood or our past or whatever it might be, that isn't true or isn't right, or you know, we were in a position or a place at the time that hearing that wasn't the best thing. And I will always say that to parents, it's important that you are doing more for your children in that. You know, if you do have the opportunity, and that is to sing with them, you know, and maybe not suggest that they can't do it, but maybe, you know, do it a different way, or, you know, try a different style, you know. I mean, listen, I've got 3 kids, right, and everybody always says to me, so you must be singing every day, you must be teaching them piano every day. Like, no, I don't. But what I do is I sing a lot, and we create crazy songs a lot, and we create crazy tunes on the piano. And, you know, when I hear them play something on the piano, which I'm like, oh, that's really impressive, I tell them, wow, that's really good. And then they'll hear me playing what they played on the piano the day later, and they'll be like, where did you get that from? And I'll be like, no, you were playing this yesterday, I thought it was amazing, so I'm going to play it as well. And that kind of, I mean, listen, I've been in this for a long time now. So for me, I want my children to have a real freedom when it comes to creativity, be it music or any other area of their lives,
Get joy from what they're doing.
We shouldn't be fearful when we're making music, should we? Because music music
be the food of love.
Yeah, we're hoping that this week we can have, the young people have already been saying to me, Miss, I can't sing. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but that's not what it's about. No. Come and try. Give it surprise yourself. Just find some joy, just let your guard down. Letting your guard down, being vulnerable, I think is quite scary for some of our young people. Exactly.
I think a great team building exercise, whether it's in a corporate setting or amongst friends, do karaoke.
Yeah.
Right? At home.
Exactly.
You'll see the most confident become vulnerable.
Exactly.
And then the bonds are formed. Yeah. You see the one who is perhaps the most professed at being talented at singing, humbled.
Yeah.
Right? And then when, just like your story with the actor, when the passion, the authenticity, the realness is there, it resonates with everybody else.
Yeah.
So in the school setting, from the perspective of these formative years where we still have them to nurture, we still have a responsibility and obligation. How do we make sure that the access is for all of them? Like you said, it's inclusive, but sometimes with the greatest respect. It's just words that we use.
Exactly.
Because we don't make the effort to ensure.
We have to keep trying, don't we? We just have to keep trying and making sure that we reach out to as many people as we can. Obviously in the last few weeks I've been reflecting, I wish I'd spoken to this person, or I wish we'd invited. And I think we just keep building on it. The future is there, and we can continue to do it, and we can continue to involve different agencies in this and get as many young people singing and finding the joy in that as we can.
Mark, if I might through you, as a father, I mean, you say a father of three, we always talk about the home to school and the community being that tripartite. What's a two-legged stool is okay, but a three-legged one is even more stable, right? The joy that you bring, the interaction, the bonding, it's through music and by the singing on an instrument. Some of us who had parents who it's gameplay, who it's maybe writing and prose, maybe it's through something else. Having that environment, how can you help us as parents in today with all the distractions, all the demands and expectations that we place on our children, deliberately sometimes, to get them to say, hey, chill, let's keep raising the bar and reward excellence and not mediocrity, but let the child have fun, explore the creativity.
Yeah, and you've hit on a really interesting point there that as parents, we have to recognize that our children are going to go through their experiences. My experience as a child growing up is completely different to my child's. And I'm always keen to learn from my children. And so I say to them, what music are you listening to? Tell me what you're listening to. I mean, I may not like it. Yeah, some of the stuff that my daughter comes home with, I'm like, I don't know about this at all. But it's teaching me, and I want parents to trust that their children will bring them some stuff that is their world, and you just need to embrace that for as much as you can. Of course, there's going to be some boundaries, of course, but embrace as much as you can from your children, because they have to grow up and they have to experience their own lives just like we did.
And you get to learn from them what they introduce and expose to, what inspires.
The Bible says even a child shall lead them, right?
Out of the mother babes. And this is where I think music helps us to appreciate it. Not a plug that I do for any other reason, right? Those who listen to Radio Came On. But that's one of the attractive features of Radio Came On. 24 hours a day, you can pick programming that is different and you can get something for every audience.
Yeah.
And that, I think, speaks volumes to the community, but the ethos of ensuring, an invitation to be involved, to be included, to be not just accepted, but to be expected to excel.
Yeah, and we're really lucky with the festival that Ironshore Studios are on board with us as well.
Yeah.
So not only do we have Mark, who's doing the workshops with us and obviously assisting in the studio, but also Ironshore Studios, which is an absolutely beautiful new studio owned by Caymanian young people. I call them young.
Yeah.
They're young.
But compared to us, right? Maybe.
Exactly. And it's a beautiful space, and we are so lucky that they have offered their studio for 5 hours of sessions, and our plan is to record one song. Yeah. One song uniting all the young people, and they will go to the studio and record their audio, and there'll be video as well. and then I'm sure very kindly are going to edit it together to create a legacy piece, a
So
piece
our
that we
version
can
of The Other World, huh?
Exactly. You are. You see, you're thinking the right thing, and it's a song called Together. So this song Together will be the young people coming together. And then if anybody in the community wants to come along and, you know, lift up these fantastic young people who, as I said, some of them will be experiencing this for the very first time. On Friday evening, we have a concert at John Gray High School in the Performance Hall starting at 5 p.m. It should be finished by about 6:30. And
The hall or the concert?
The hall, yeah. The concert, I know, I loved it. The concert should be finished by about 6:30. It is finished now. The school is finished. You know the school's finished. Have you been to the school yet?
It's a fantastic
It's
facility.
beautiful, isn't
You
it?
get lost there.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
big.
It's a beautiful performance hall, and we're very, very lucky to have it. And every single young person who's been involved this week will be there to perform. So each group will have their own song that we will be working with them on. And then at the end of the concert, all 150 young people will come together. Now, to put this in perspective, there are 4-year-olds in Cayman Youth Choir. So you will have 4-year-olds in Cayman Youth Choir, to the boys to men, who some of them are double my height, I swear. Basketball players, incredibly tall. And then you'll have the students from the Lighthouse School all coming together to create something really special. And we do hope that the community will really lift them up in this experience. We feel like it's going to be something really special. And I think, you know, it's one of the first times that something like this has been done on Island. So we're really proud of what we've created and hope that the community will be there lifting them up.
Well, these are the bridges that we build, and if they're undergirded with strengths like, you know, Mark, it helps us to see that we're connected. And the more that we look at it, the more we see we're alike than different. What are the final thoughts, Mark, you might want to leave with our listeners?
I think Naomi's touched on a really important point, that the children will be doing this together. Truly, they cannot do this alone. So parents, loved ones, carers, whoever you are, come and support them. Come and see what they can do, because truly when they see you or your faces or just feel your presence in the audience, I cannot tell you how much of a lift that will give them. So please come out in your numbers, come and enjoy the music. Like we said earlier, they're going to sing their hearts out, and it's going to be full of joy.
Joy.
All right.
There it is, man. Sound good, to be joyful. Marius, I think I followed your instructions to the letter.
Yes, I think
any thoughts
for
you
the
want?
first time guest that they have spoken more than myself.
Which is a change, because the first time he came on, he wouldn't speak. But now he wants to host the show.
Yeah, I think I just came back to the roots. Now, all I want to say is that this is last week we had a new addition to the Cayman Arts Festival programs, a Jazz Week. This week we have another addition. It's a new program, the Choral Festival. We hope to continue this. We will do it anyway, but we would love to have as many persons as possible to come to support this, as they mentioned.
Well, we're here
we
to
know
help.
that they will be there.
Yeah, man. Any time to promote that you need, whatever. Closing thoughts, Miss Naomi.
Oh, that's a big responsibility.
Of course, but you can handle that.
I think I would just say to everybody that the young people here in Cayman are so special. And to have an event where we are able to work with so many different young people from so many different backgrounds and schools and abilities is a real gift. And I say that I really do believe that to work here in Cayman with the young people is a real gift, and we are very lucky to be able to do that, and very privileged to have that opportunity. And we're very lucky to have a community that supports us. And I think as long as we continue to come together as a community to support our young people, I think, you know, great things for the future. I really do.
Indeed. But thank you all, and Marius. Anytime we can be of value.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoy your visit with us, Mark. And
thank you.
And I know we will benefit from it, so maybe you take back something that helps as well.
Absolutely.
Well, it was a pleasure, man. You have a great spirit, award-winning smile. You've got, Naomi and Marius as your chaperones, so you should be safe. This week. Thank you
so much for letting us come
again.
again.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone have a wonderful, safe and productive afternoon. Find the blessings from on high and seek where you can contribute so that others can benefit from your time, your talents and your treasures. Until tomorrow, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. And Cayman Airways, call them on